Not gonna be too long. Just wanted to share a couple things with the family. Some of these so-called minority groups have forgotten their history. They forgot their history. They forgot the deal that their ancestors have made with Satan. And we are here to remind you of the deal that your forefathers made with Satan. So while we're waiting for people to get notified, I'm going to play a little bit of the video just popped up from on Big Levi's channel of Eleazar Noir, Conqueror's official video. I'm going to play, we're going to listen to it for the first time together. I'm going to play it right now. We can check it out. So thank you again for this great music so we can share it. All right, and here we go. This one right here.
We only fear the Almighty, so we rock with some. It don't matter how many got together, cause you do a different happen before you done what you done. I know you heard about the last days. You see the heat, now the sun. You need to poly 1,000 armies to harm, cause when the spirits upon me, better run, better run. We rock armor like heavy metal, standing against the wiles of the devil. I think you better run. Lots of soldiers like supernovas, you don't wanna feel the wrath of Jehovah. I think you better run. Coming with a double-edged sword and a flies and a burn to the core. I think you better run. This is deeper than flesh and blood. Mama had to get it out the mud. I think you better run. Pure malice. Only see the fear in their eyes, they gon' balance. They see that we on the rise, there's no challenge. Trying to get materialized like that. Murderous thieves, lies, pure malice. Only see the fear in their eyes, they gon' balance. They see that we on the rise, there's no challenge. Trying to get materialized like that. Yes, sir, all is well. I'm level my 8. 10,000 on my right, leg into your right. 1,000 on my left, turning in my 8. But now, wanna come close to the heat. We're skilled in the warrior drills. We all kneel in the cities, get it tumbling down like dumb kids. Still navigating the field in God's will till we get whatever one of you hears that keep the bill. The good deal, not a soldier, get your shield on the battlefield. Throwing boulders like Land Rovers and your riot shield. Ice grill like blue steel. Children of the sun, where your papers and lose real. Yeah, it's all about my garments. Then I brought me the sword, cause since the day I was born, I've been ready for war. Learn to zero my target, then I call it my guard. Here's some of the squad, with a stack and a rod. We rock armor like heavy metal, standing against the wiles of the devil. I think you better run. Lots of soldiers like supernovas, you don't wanna feel the wrath of Jehovah. I think you better run. Coming with a double-edged sword and a flies and a burn to the core. I think you better run. This is deeper than flesh and blood. Mama had to get it out the mud. I think you better murderous thieves, lies from pure malice. Only see the fear in their eyes, they gon' balance. They see that we on the rise, there's no challenge. Trying to get materialized like that. Murderous thieves, lies from pure malice. Only see the fear in their eyes, they gon' balance. They see that we on the rise, there's no challenge. Trying to get materialized like that. Father cops has many rooms and a round table. With 12 soldiers that heavy armor that's bi-label. They have no business, no intermission, no any mission. Or any vision, this simply mission, this in the vision. We learn harder, we start to talk at the line harder. That pushes garbage, comparing the harvest, starving artists. The child running, miseducated and broken hearted. And all my brothers behind bars, disregarded. You see the good things coming faster than those who waited. We're militated, better get up and be motivated. See, there's a lot of brother that just didn't make it. And better carry more women, what a precious thing. If they bless, yes, I'm the flex. They know we got next and they press. And they call the press, so they gotta take. On the sec, yes, on the sec. Yeah, they cut next, cause they check better cleave next. Or you getting that better structure. We work hard like heavy metal. Standing against the wild of the devil. I think you better run. Lots of soldiers like supernovas, you don't wanna feel the wrath of Jehovah. I think you better run. Come with a double-edged sword and a flies and a burn to the core. I think you better run. This is deeper than flesh and blood. Mama had to get it out the mud. I think you better run.
All praises. I'm gonna play a little of the opening of Father Indigo, Big Dog, just kind of get the drums going, get that beautiful feeling, that beautiful frequency. Just gonna play just the first part with the drums. All praises to the Most High. Got to get it in with these Vassals real quick, you know, because a couple of videos it's one video in particular I want to show you where this so-called native is calling us pretendians, but then always talking about how we want something. We want something for free, and that they haven't been given anything because they know that, you know, they're not going to get anything from the white man. And it's funny because they got the same thing from some of these Africans with their videos about how we always live in the past and we always want something for free and things like that. And it's just funny because what these people don't realize is that, look, your forefathers made a deal with the devil. The thing is that I don't think you guys now understand that. You don't understand that you already got your prize. You already got your dainties. We have not. In fact, all the dainties that you guys have been receiving were things that were ours in the first place. Exactly right. And talking about, you know, like everybody wants to be a nigga now. Everybody wants to be, hey, where are we represented in the Sinners movie? Why aren't we represented in the Sinners movie? We were in those areas too. See, all of a sudden now, we were talking about that. Everybody's like now wanting to say, oh, well, hey, man, we went through slavery, because you've probably been able to say that kind of crap. Oh, we all went through slavery. Really? I don't see a lot of pictures or paintings or anything else that shows black and so-called brown people going into slavery together. I don't see anyone saying that blacks and Hamites were going into slavery together. So all of a sudden now the Hamites want to be black. All of a sudden now Hamites want to be the new niggas all of a sudden. When forever, you guys are lazy. You guys, you're cotton pickers. We were such warriors. We would never go down and that's what even the Indian was saying. We were such warriors that we would never bow down and go into slavery. Oh, again. So see, this is what happens when you forget your history. See, your forefathers were given the opportunity to either be out here in slavery with us niggas, or come over here with us so-called white people. This is and you're not going to be treated like white people, but you're not going to be treated as bad as the Negroes over here. And your forefathers said, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds awesome. You can still treat me like shit. Just don't treat me as bad as those Negroes over there. See, and that was the whole thing. Yeah, exactly. You guys all turned on us. And now all of a sudden, now that you start seeing us being raised up, now your children now are like, oh yeah, we went through the same things as these Negroes. Oh, you guys just want stuff for free. You guys, you guys had the same opportunities that our forefathers had, but you just were too lazy to take advantage of that. See, this is what happens when you don't know your history. This is what happens when your forefathers were too weak to say, hey, I know these Negroes right here are the Most High's chosen people. I know that eventually the Most High is going to bless them. I'm going to forego living in, a little bit of luxury here, and I'm going to be down with these so-called Israelites, because I know that a little bit of going through some suffering is going to be better in the long run, because the Most High is going to reward them, but He will also reward us for being down with them. Your forefathers, who you say were such these great warriors, said, "Oh no, I don't want to be these niggas. I'll be your little bitch. You can just tell me whatever it is. I'll be a slave. I'll do whatever it is you want me to do. Just please don't let me be over there with them." So they weren't these big warriors that they make you out to be in these movies. You were the white man's bitch. You did everything you want him to do. And that's why now now that he's turning his back on you, now you're like, hey, what are you doing? We did everything you wanted us to do. We did hey man, you told us to, hey, we can work 7 days a week and get paid half of 50% of what we should be getting, and we'd be happy with that. We'll go to your Catholic church. We'll do all these different things, so they thought that they were in. They thought they were in. So you guys did. You got the deal. It was a shitty deal, but it was the deal that your forefathers signed you up for. So now that you see now the Most High's people rising up, being raised up again by the Holy Spirit and the Most High, now all of a sudden you're like, hey, why aren't we represented in this awakening? Why aren't we being represented in this awakening? We were down with you guys the whole time. The white man's treated us all exactly the same. Now you're like, oh, well, now we're telling you, no, that's not the case. You were not treated like us. Some people did, but see, that's the whole thing. You guys, this whole collective, like all or none, is not going to work. Some people in every group were down with us, but the vast majority were down with the white man, down with the Edomites, down with the Europeans. So you took your reward in this life, and now you're realizing that that was a really shitty deal. But again, that was the deal that your forefathers signed up for. As much as you always keep saying, oh, it didn't matter what my forefathers did, that is a total lie. That is a total lie. We have to pay for what our forefathers did. Go to Lamentations 5 and 7. In fact, I'll go there real quick. Lamentations 5 and 7 tells you, this is what you're seeing going on right now is pretty much a proof that you're going to have to pay for for the deal your forefathers made. As much as your churches have told you, they've lied to you and told you that that's not the case. Lamentations 5 and 7. Our fathers have sinned and are not. Okay? Our fathers have sinned and are not, and we have borne their iniquities. That is why the Israelites were at the bottom. That is why your forefathers said, I don't want to be looked at as Negro, black. I don't want to be any part of that. So I want to be white. And you can see, you got East Indians who are darker than me. You got Hamites who are darker than me. You got Latinos that are darker than me. and they're considered white. Why is that? Because their forefathers made covenants with the Europeans. That is it. So now all of a sudden you got all these people. I heard about the sinners movie. I want to go check it out, but it was like, why aren't Latinos there? Again, why would you guys want to be there? Forever you've been not wanting to be associated with black people at all. Right? All of a sudden, I mean, that's how it's been my whole life. The vast majority of every single minority group does not want to be considered black. They don't want to be in black movies. They don't want to be, considered black. They don't want to be, associated with being black. That's why all these Dominican, me no black, even though they're dark and everything else, to show you that it's not about your skin color. It's about your station in this society. And see, you guys got your opportunity to be a little bit higher than us, right? And now that you see us, like, you already see it. It's evident that these so-called niggas now are on top. These so-called Negroes are on top. They have all the knowledge. They have the understanding. You see your whole society coming down quickly. And the only people that are talking down and bringing down the society are the so-called Negroes. Okay? We're going to have, it's a very small group of people that's bringing down this entire society. So, but within even those so-called Negroes group, most of them are still down with the Edomites. And so therefore they are not considered black, they're considered white. Even your Vassal, the Vassal, what do you call it? The Pastor Mitchell. Yeah, brother's hella dark, right? But he's considered white, even though he's really dark, really melanated. Why is he considered a black? Because he's a Vassal. Because he's carrying the water for the Edomites. So it's not about, that's what they try to make you think, that that's what it's about. It's not about your skin color. It's about your station in this society. Now I'm going to play a little bit of this video. But the thing is, without Lamentations 5 and 7, see, just because, the churches have hidden all this information from you, I saw that with TD Jakes stepping down too. Even though you guys seem to think that you don't have to pay for what your forefathers made these covenants and broke these covenants or made these decisions. Who you need to be pissed off at are your forefathers for not really being these warriors and taking the easy way out. You see what I'm saying? So that is why you're in this position you are in today, because your forefathers were not these great, warriors that didn't want to go, that refused to go into slavery. Yeah, they refused, but they didn't refuse away. They didn't like stand up 10 toes down, to the so-called Spaniards and all these other European countries and say, I'd rather die than, serve you. No, they said, hey, where do I sign up to be white? Hey, where do I sign up to be white? I don't want to be black. I don't want to have to die, because remember, when you sign up to be white, that was when all of a sudden the Inquisition didn't deal with you. All of a sudden the priests were going out of their way to try to convert you. You see what I'm saying? And of course, see, people, all they have to say is, you sound racist. See, that's the whole thing. We live in a racist society that has been turned around against us, but that's all that they have to do. That's all they have, is to say something stupid like that. You sound racist by bringing your history to you. You see what I'm saying? You guys have been the ultimate racist society. Hey, how many Negroes do you see in the Catholic hierarchy? Just please let me know. I want to see who's racist. Anytime you see any black people, which you see very few in the Catholic Church, how many are Negroes? I've seen none. The only black people I see are Hamites. So if it's supposed to be an all-inclusive church, how come I don't see any of my people represented there? But then when we tell you about it, we're racist, but you never say, hey, my churches are racist. How can you have a Catholic church with billions and billions of people, but you got like not one Negro around? You got every other group represented, but for some reason, there's no Negroes there. Why? Because that church and this system has been racist against our people the whole time. So before you say anything about me being racist, please go ahead and show me in your Catholic church where there's all these so-called Negroes represented. How come I don't see any Negroes as a possibility to be the next pope? All I see is Hamites, Europeans, and Asians. The three parts. That's it. Don't see any Negroes anywhere, but I'm racist. But see, they won't talk about that though. They won't bring that up. This is why your whole society is falling and coming to an end quickly. That is why it's coming to an end quickly. That's why there's going to be empty shelves soon. So we're talking about all those different videos today, talking about all the ships. I want to say there were 70 ships that's supposed to be coming over here from China, and it's dropped down to 40. And they're talking about how massive these ships are and how there's so few things that are going to be coming over here, and how every day China's like cutting more shipments from this and cutting more shipments from that. And they're like, well, even if Trump just fixed the tariffs today, the damage is already done. It would take a long time for it to fix. But she's not going to fix it, because the time of you living deliciously here is coming quickly to an end. So see, but that's what happens when you don't have any like facts. You throw out name calling. Oh, you're racist. You're racist. I mean, what are you talking about, man? Look at your society. Your society, like books like this, the color of law shows you how racist your society is. This is what happens when you don't read. And yes, this is why you made it impossible for us to read for a time. Because you already know, once we start picking up books, I said, our sword is so long, so huge, so sharp, that you already know that you're going to not be able to do anything with us after that point. Right, Mr. Soulful? At this rate, I might even have a U.S. by the 4th of July, right? So let me play this video right quick. Probably gonna stop it a couple times. The brother shared this one with me.
Yeah, I want to know the difference between pretending.
Okay, this one right here. You want to know the difference between pretendians and Native Americans? So I guess you know we're the pretendians now. Okay, we're the so-called pretendians. It's like that's why y'all can't come up with anything new that you got to call us when we call you. So this is funny. Here we go.
Want to know the difference between pretendians and real natives? Pretendians want money. They want land. They want something. They think they're owed something by the government, and they're not. Real natives, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but from what I've seen, we already know we're not going to get anything from the government. Obviously, 500 years of treaties, and every single one of them have been broken. We have proof enough to know. I think at this point, all we want is acknowledgement. And that is the difference. Plus, if the government was actually to acknowledge what the...
So all you want is acknowledgement? And you guys had all these treaties that were broken? How do we know that those treaties that they were made with you? Just because I see a couple of pictures, recent pictures, I said, it doesn't mean that all those treaties that were made with you. See, I've already shown books that showed you that they talk about the red men, but there was people that were here thousands of years before you who built all the stuff that's here. And you guys are like new booty here who just showed up And all of a sudden now you want to act like you were the ones that were here and that these people are making treaties with you for 500 years or 500 treaties for hundreds of years, which is a damn lie. And like, oh, we know we're not going to get anything. Let me go back. I almost want to see that part real quick about how we haven't gotten anything. Really? You didn't get casinos. You didn't get
Real native.
hold on. You didn't get casinos. You didn't get schools. You didn't get preferential treatment. You didn't get the opportunity to join the church. Like the whole, you guys didn't get a chance to actually not just get killed and destroyed. We were actually, the priests actually had to treat you with humanity. What are you talking about? You didn't get anything. You didn't get as much, exactly, free health care, monthly checks. I mean, what are you talking about? You haven't got, is again, they're trying to take our plight and apply it to them. Take our plight and apply it to them. Now, no one said you guys did not have to endure some pain. That's not the point. I have no problem saying that, yes, you probably endured some pain. But you have not endured the amount of pain that we have. That is the point. And your forefathers signed up for this shit. Your forefathers signed up for this. They're the ones that said, okay, deal. Now, some of our people went ahead and did that, and they're Vassals, and now they're going to have to pay for that. Okay? Well, let me play it again. But it's funny how we just want something. Yeah, we want our shit back. That's what we want. We want recompense for, a restoration for 500, 600 years of free labor. We want our land back. Exactly, the Delectable Nero. I know that book, yep. Here.
Pretendings want money, they want land, they want something, they think they're owed something by the government, and they're not. Real natives.
So we're not owed anything. Pretendians, which we're not, we're the real people. You guys are the pretendians, that's why you guys got a little bit of a little something. I said, but real natives, like us, haven't received anything. So we want land, we want money. No, we want what's owed to us. And we're going to get what's owed to us. And double. Our people weren't going to sell out for a little bit of land or a reservation or a little check. That's what your people did. We weren't going to sell out for, 2 cents on the dollar. We get 2 cents and they keep 98 cents. See, if they knew that they could make a deal with the Most High's chosen people, they would. If they thought they could make a deal right now and and miss some of this destruction that's coming on them, they would. But they already know that is not an option. That is not an option. So what do? Make deals with your ass. Because the Most High says, oh yeah, you make deals with them. You need servants and handmaids. So make your deals with them. They'll be your servants and handmaids. See, this is the whole thing you all don't understand. There's levels to this payback. We're going to have servants and handmaids, and we're going to have the people who took us into hardcore slavery as well. That is how this is going to work out. That's what the Bible says. We'll read that in a little bit. So that's what the Edomites set up. They set up with servants and handmaids. So all you minorities who made deals with them were their servants and handmaids. And the ones who had to deal with the hardcore slavery was us, the Israelites, being treated as animals and not as people. So the Most High is going to give you guys the same opportunity to do the same thing. Except now he's going to raise his people to the top, and there's going to be servants and handmaids, you people in the middle, and then there's going to be the ones serving hardcore bondage, which is going to be the ones who really had their hands in destroying us. So let's listen to a little bit more of the handmaids here.
And maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but they're not. They want something. They think they're owed something by the
Hold on,
government.
I'll play the whole video. It's like a minute.
Real natives. Pretenders want money. They want land. They want something. They think they're owed something by the government, and they're not. Real natives. And maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but from what I've seen, we already know we're not going to get anything from the government. Obviously, 500 years of treaties, and every single one of them have been broken. We have proof enough to know. I think at this point, all we want is acknowledgement, and that is the difference. Plus, if the government was actually to acknowledge what they've done to natives, and that's a whole different video, I'll have to do that here in a little bit, but if they were to acknowledge us and pay us what we're owed as native people, the amount of money would be insurmountable. And they'd have to admit to a lot of things that they're not ever really wanting to admit to. But that's another video. Yeah, I want to know the difference between pretendings.
Wait a minute. So what you're saying is that, oh, they don't want to acknowledge all the things that they've done to you people, you so-called natives, and if they had to pay back what they did to you, it'd be such a huge amount of money that they just couldn't pay it, pretty much. That's what they did to us, not to you. You see how confused she is? Like, the people that they can't pay back are the ones they ignore. You see how they're like you don't even know, like you're totally talking about us. They can't pay back what they owe us. They have worked and you have agreed to accept what they gave you. And what are you talking about? They didn't acknowledge. Didn't the Pope just go and talk to you guys and acknowledge what he was doing? And he said, I'm sorry. And you better just take that I'm sorry, because that's all you're going to get from us. You see what I'm saying? Like, what? What are you talking about? Like, the people that they can't pay back are the so-called Negroes. Exactly. They sold their inheritance for a Happy Meal. You guys sold, your forefathers sold you out for nothing. They sold you out. He says, we want acknowledgement. Everybody acknowledges you as being the people. What are you talking about? We just want acknowledgement. Everybody acknowledges you. The people that don't acknowledge of being the people are us. So what are you talking about? You just need an acknowledgement. Exactly, Mrs. M. So many of them are cursed for stealing lands. That's what you other nations don't get. In Jubilees, after the flood, Noah and his sons, they made a covenant. All of them signed the covenant. And it said, you're going to get your lands. Ham, Shem, Japheth. Do not take someone else's lands. If you take someone else's lands, your children are going to have to pay for those actions. All of your churches have pretty much told you, you don't have to pay for the sins of your father, which is an absolute lie. An absolute lie. Exactly, right? Pocapet, they literally got crumbs for agreeing to be us. That's all you got. You got some crumbs, and you got the whole thing. Only thing you guys really got was to not be treated like us black people. Not to be treated as bad as us. That was pretty much it. Okay? So I wanted you to see that one, because like I said, that was... Hold on here. So yeah, she's so confused. Oh, you pretendians, you guys just want money. You guys just want land. We're gonna get all that. That's a given. That was a covenant that your forefathers made. Your forefathers made that covenant. They agreed that if our children take someone else's land, that their children are gonna have to pay for it. You are those children. I know it's a shitty deal. But that's the deal nonetheless. It's the deal that our forefathers all signed. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And just because your churches have told you, oh, don't read the book of Jasher or don't read the book of Jubilees, that's not real. As you can see, it's real. It's a binding agreement. And now you are here. You got stuck without the music, without the chair and musical chairs. Now you're standing up looking like an idiot. That's it. That is it. You're stuck standing there. I was the last one to sit in the chair, and now I'm looking at your ass like, sitting here chilling in the chair while you sit there standing there with no chair, and now you got no covering. You got now the Holy Spirit's here and just bringing out everything. Took that bag and ran with it. I want to play this other video because, like I said, with a lot of the people, like, look, you guys did not want to be. We had black movies. Y'all wanted nothing to do with. Y'all want to talk shit on all these great movies that we used to make. Friday 2, Friday 3, right? I'm gonna get you, sucker. I love that movie, huh? Right? Give us some other movies from back in the day. Car Wash, right? Shaft, Sugar Hill, Cooley High, Hollywood Shuffle, yep. Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood. And see, y'all went, whites and Latinos weren't all in those movies either, right? But y'all weren't like, hey, why don't y'all represent us in those movies? As you can see, hey, where were we represented in these movies like Lord of the Rings, Juice, right? Do the Right Thing, New Jack City. We're all the people like, hey, why don't you represent us in those movies? See, they weren't like trying to get represented in those movies, right? Good Times. So, but now all of a sudden people want to be, they want to be represented in our movies. Check this one out. I want to play this video.
So funny that these Hispanics are talking about some, oh, well, so funny that these Hispanics are talking about some, oh, well, where were we? Bitch. Bitch, you were there. As white people. Remember that? 1932 was the year, bitch. 1930, your ass was marching to be white. Crying, fighting to be a cracker. So, yeah, that's where you were. Trust me, bitch, on the other side. You weren't with us, and you definitely weren't with the Asians. So funny that these Hispanics are talking about some, oh, well, where were we? Bitch. Bitch, you were there. As white people. Remember that? 1932 was the year, bitch. 1930, your ass was marching to be white. Crying, fighting to be a cracker. So, yeah, that's where you were. Trust me, bitch, on the other side. You weren't with us, and you definitely weren't.
And that's exactly it. Like, look, y'all, this whole time, y'all been talking all this shit about us black people. So, you know, you call us every name in the book, being racist. Again, not everybody, but the vast majority. So, okay, and that's all different groups, all different minority groups didn't want to mess with us. So that's the whole thing. To see now that they see it, everybody wants to follow the winners. The people in the middle, they're going to follow whoever is in charge, whoever the Most High gives power to. So see, this is a whole situation. Like, look, you know, that's why they wanted us all out there, you know, going out there and to protest, because they know we're the ones that get shit done. And without us, nothing is going to get done. So much as they try to keep on trying to get us into certain things with them, not going to happen. We weren't represented in, was it 10 Commandments either. They only brought some Hamites in at the beginning of the movie. You don't see any black people in that movie. Even though they were all black people in that time, in those lands, going through those things. You know, I love that video. It was hilarious. That's it. Like, y'all were there, but y'all were on the other side. Y'all were fighting against us. Everybody was fighting against us, just like they're still trying to do today. Just like the whole collusion with the 144 and Shadur, right? Same thing. And all of a sudden, now that you say people are actually doing better, you know, starting to rise up. Now, but hey, I was fighting along with y'all. Most likely gonna be like, nah, you weren't there fighting with them. Don't try it now. Don't try it now, because you were not there fighting with us. Let me see next. Bro, I mean, I could do this all day. You know, I say, and then what's gonna happen with y'all? Y'all gonna be hella quiet, got nothing to say, except, hey, why are we in that movie? We were there too. Yeah, okay. This is a good one. Old girl trying to break it down, like why a lot of Latinos were not represented in the movie centers and what was going on in 1932. It's good information. Here.
Why is there no Mexican representation in the movie Sinners if there was a lot of Mexicans working in the Mississippi Delta during that time? Yes, you're right. There was a lot of Mexicans working in the Mississippi Delta in 1925 to 1930. The movie Sinners takes place in 1932. Do you know why Mexicans stopped working in the Mississippi Delta in 1930? Why it makes no sense to add them in the movie Sinners during that time because there was no more Mexicans in 1932? Do you know why? Because of the Mexican Repatriation Act. What is the Mexican Repatriation Act? It's when every Mexican, whether you were born here or you came here illegally, was deported back to Mexico. If you're Mexican and you watch the movie Mi Familia, you know where J-Lo comes out before she became Selena, you see the character that J-Lo's playing gets put on a train and sent back to Mexico. I was during that time. So in 1932, there was no more Mexicans in the Mississippi Delta working in the cottons because they all got deported to Mexico, especially in those areas. Let me make another video with a quick breakdown of what the act was and how it affected a lot of us Latinos.
And that's the thing. Again, I'm not saying that the other minority groups didn't go through some shit. But when you guys don't acknowledge what we've gone through, then why in the hell would I acknowledge what you've gone through? See, that's how you guys always wanted it. You want us to acknowledge your pain. But everybody ignores our pain. You see what I'm saying? Everybody wants us to acknowledge what they've gone through. But then as soon as we start talking about what I've gone through or my people have gone through, it's crickets. And that's been my whole life. When I talk to people about this truth, or I bring up information about the slavery or whatever else, or that we're not Negroes, we weren't brought over here from on slave ships, we were already here. People are like, oh, okay. All right. Hey, we got something else to talk about? We got anything else going on? That's what we get. When we talk about all those, slavery, oh yeah, that's bad. That's bad. Hey, we got something else to talk about over here? That's what y'all do all the time. Yeah. Well, their pleasure was tied to our pain, right? 160 years ago? That's funny. It was 160 years ago. Did they not still have all the lands from 160 years ago? Do they still not have all of the cities? Aren't all these names of all these places that are here? Los Angeles, Santana, right? All San Diego. Aren't those all Spanish names? You see, have you not, like, just 160 years ago, that's not even 2 generations, dumbass. That's a great grandparent who's gotten land and passed that shit down to their kids and their kids. So the whole, it's 160, don't worry about it, because you're going to be paying for it for the next 1,000 years. You got San Francisco. You got all these different names. New Mexico. You got all these different names of still people that's been here. Why are the names still the same? They got all these land grants where they were giving it down. You get these 160 acres and passing that down to their generations and their generations, or going and setting up laws for redlining, which again was going on since still the 60s and the 70s and 80s and 90s. Dumbass, because you don't even understand history. You don't understand the laws that were set up, how they destroyed our families and put many of our men in jail, destroyed our families. That was happening in my lifetime and still happens right now. So again, you can miss us with the, oh, it happened so long ago bullshit. Because all of the stuff you see with all these lands and all these laws that we have to follow were still set up from people that were 160 years ago, 200 years ago, 400 years ago. So that's what happens when you don't understand and you just run your mouth. The receipts written into law, exactly. Now, but that's all they can say. You know, hey, y'all weren't worried about this. That was such a long time ago. That's not gonna fly anymore. That just means you got a lot of shit to pay up. You got a lot of stuff to pay up. And just so you know, this slavery that you saw or see all started with the Spaniards and your Catholic Church. It says a cardinal fact of life in the United States, which Jews were quick to perceive, was that caste was determined by color, not creed. Again, white people, high class, high caste system. Black people, low caste, the bottom of society. Okay? The view, okay. Only in America was the Jew a white man. The view Jews and Negroes held of themselves and each other determined with fatal finality, okay, by the existence of that peculiar institution, slavery. That is the main thing. So you can sit there and talk about how long ago this was, but this has affected your families and it'll put you guys on top, and it's affected our families, kept us on the bottom this whole time. The American version of this ancient and traditional form of bondage was so ferocious that it seemed different in kind. When you say America, that was when the Spaniards got here. If not in quantity, from any previous known form of servitude introduced by the Spaniards in Haiti in 1502. So it's been, you know, this type of slavery has been going on for 500 plus years. It spread malignantly across the body of the New World. By the outbreak of the Civil War, hundreds of years later on, a majority of the people living in the Confederacy were slaves, Negroes. In Cardozo, South Carolina, more than 60% of the population was Negro. But they got none of the money, none of the perks, none of the dainties. Charleston's wealth was created by the slave trade and declined with its end. But you got people who kept all that money. American slavery, unlike that of antiquity, was based solely on color and denied the humanity of its victims. So if you want to say things like it doesn't matter, it was so long ago, it wasn't. So you can believe whatever you want. Most High just marked your ass for just saying that shit in the first place. Just marked you for saying that. Shalom, Sister Lisa. I'm just going to read a little bit of Isaiah 14, just so you can understand. There's two types of slavery that are coming. And see, when you say stuff like that, and you just try to belittle what we've gone through, Most High going to mark your ass for a little bit more extra work until you can learn that lesson. Let's go to it real quick. Isaiah 14 and 1. For the Most High will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. and set them in their own land, right here. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. These strangers, you people in the middle. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High, for servants and handmaids. They are you people in the middle. And how you're treated is going to depend on how you treated the Most High's people. Next. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So you got some that go ahead and, are going to cleave, but you got the ones that no, they're not going to. They're going to be taken, and they're going to be treated just the way they were treating our people. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Most High shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Okay? So when you go into 2nd Baruch in the Sefer in chapter 72, it really tells you that there's one group that's going to be shown some mercy, and those are going to be the ones that are going to be cleaving to the Most High people, the ones that haven't done a lot of stuff to us. People who will be like, yeah, you know what? We've done these things to you. We need to pay for these things. We need to make these things right. But when you come over here and say things like, oh, that was such a long time ago, that doesn't mean that the wrongs aren't going to be righted. Does not mean that you're not going to have to pay for the sins of your fathers. That's what you're hoping for. But it also talks about the ones that have really abused Israel, and those are the ones that are going to be getting the hardcore treatment. So you keep on thinking you're just going to just kick that can down the road. The can can't be kicked anymore. The can is right here. So I just wanted to let you guys see that, especially that so-called native calling us pretendians, but then pretty much trying to piggyback on all of our plight. We just want to be acknowledged. We just want to be acknowledged. They can't pay back all the stuff that our people have gone through. And if you go into the comments, it was like our people were such warriors that they would never bow down and go into slavery. I said, your people bowed down. They bent over. Yes, they did. And they went ahead and they said, yeah, we'll just go ahead and make a covenant with the so-called Europeans, and we'll just be at the low end, and we'll just take over. We'll just take whatever we got to take. That's what you guys did. And they always want to make it sound like our people just didn't fight back, which is a lie. Didn't, resound to that. And a lot of it was we had to just take it because our mother said, look, the Most High brought this on you. There's nothing you can do about it. Just take your punishment. Just know that the Most High is going to turn his face back to you. Just know that. So just bide your time. That's what we've done. And now you see the rising of the Most High's people. Now you see that covenant that your forefathers made was a shitty ass deal. And you have the opportunity to at least try to get some mercy by cleaving to the Most High the people. Stop with that shit was a long time ago, I don't have to pay for it. While you're still enjoying my land, you do not understand that if you're here on these lands, your ass doesn't belong here. So you can act like you don't owe us anything. Yes, you owe us everything, because everything here is ours. Just like when you went to the so-called Europeans to get permission to stay here and to worship at his church and everything else, that's what you're going to be doing to us. You are going to have to come to us to get permission to be on our lands. When you read Isaiah 14, it's telling you that. He turns his face back to Israel. We are the new owners. We are the new dueños of this land. And we're not new, it's just being returned back to us again. We are the HNICs of these lands. And if you don't know what that means, because maybe some of you guys are new, you're from the other nations. We are the head niggas in charge. So you don't need to worry about going to Trump and going to MAGA to get permission to stay here. So again, Isaiah 14, for the Most High will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. Set us in our own land. Set us up in our own land. Put us back in charge of our own land. And it ain't that little strip that Ish is over there occupying. Okay? So again, and set them in their own land. Give us power. Make us the HNICs through the power of the Most High and the Holy Spirit again. And the strangers shall be joined with them. So the strangers are going to be joined to who? Are the strangers going to be joined to the Edomites? Nah. The strangers are going to be joined to the Israelites after the Most High raises us up back on our own lands and gives us rulership again. And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Who? The strangers, the other nations, have to cleave to the Israelites, to the ones, and that's not just anybody, the ones the Most High has raised up in these last days. And the people shall take them. What are they going to do? Take them. Possess them. Like we were your possessions, you will now be our possessions. That's what Scripture says. So, it would happen 160 years ago, it doesn't matter. Most High said begs to differ. Most High begs to differ. He said what you did to them is happening to you. How you want this to go depends on you. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High, in our lands that he gave back to us, for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. And the main people who took us captives were the Edomites. Y'all didn't mostly do that. It was mostly the Edomites who were doing that. Y'all just got treated a little bit better than we did, but you weren't the ones who were really pushing the whole hardcore slavery. Okay? And they shall rule over their oppressors. All right? So that's what I wanted to share with you. Please prove me wrong. Feel free. Don't give me it doesn't matter, it happened, in the past. That's not going to work. Most High has been keeping track, and now that track is caught up to you. So if you want to be pissed off at somebody, be pissed off at your parents for lying to your asses. Be pissed off at your grandparents, because trust me, they lived in a society where it was okay to be racist to us. And they did it. And they taught you to do the same thing. And now at the end, well, why aren't we in those movies? Why aren't we being represented? Because your parents and grandparents and great-grandparents fought to be white. They fought to be against us. So again, if what I'm saying is not true, prove me wrong. But you're gonna be like your daddy, that pontifical secret, and trying to hide views and try to hide information. I said, don't work no more. The Spirit is now here, and she is bringing everything out, and it's ugly, isn't it? You can't defend your churches no more. You hear these black people bringing up this stuff, and you can't prove it wrong. You just spit out the same lies that your mommy and daddy told you, but they didn't tell you about the whole thing that if you took someone else's land, you're gonna have to pay for it. If you stole someone else's resource, you're gonna have to pay for it. That the people of the book were actually us and not the so-called Ish that's over there. Don't get pissed at me. Get pissed at your mom and your dad. Why do you think in the future is going to be mother against daughter, father against son? Why do you think that is? Because a lot of you are going to be real pissed when you realize that all the things that I've been led to say and led to share with you is now coming out, and your parents knew about it. Trust me, they know. And they've been playing dumb. And now you're in a shitty situation. And now you're like lost and confused. And Most High is going to turn you all on each other. Much love, family. Shalom.